All right, all right. Yo, yo. Welcome to another episode of Weird. I'm your host, BradQuan, and today I have a very special guest. He is a poet, an author of the 2014 chapbook.
2024.
You wrote a chapbook, then you wrote the collection.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, I did my research. I appreciate you correcting me, so some motherfuckers don't do that. I like it. I like
it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Listen, you're worth researching. You know what I'm saying? So my guy's a poet. He's the author of the 2014 chapbook, A Loss and Gain of Comfort, as well as the 2024 full-length collection, Identity Crisis, that you see right here. He was gracious enough to sign my copy, and let me tell you, the book is fucking dope. I'd highly recommend tapping in, please. He's an essayist, a mental health advocate, and a soldier for social justice. He's an all-around good man. A guy's a working man, 2 jobs, out here getting to it. You know what I'm saying, man? Yo, my guy, Ian Macks. How the fuck are you, man?
Bro, I'm just living. It's just another day in paradise. I'm thankful to be in a position now where I'm feeling like a human being, you know. I think that it's easy to, like, get lost in what we're doing and, like, get lost in the mentals, you know. And I'm just happy to be in a stable position now where I'm able to, like, get some income back in my pocket and, you know, get back to writing and helping my art. I think that it's important to connect with people on a level that's, you know, deeper than just the surface. And, you know, it can take a lot out of you, but it's so redeeming. So I'm just grateful and thankful to, you know, still be kicking it in one piece despite what I've put myself through. And, I'm very humbled and excited for this opportunity. So thank you, BradQuan. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, brother. You know, writing the first piece on you for Radio X, that was an amazing experience, just sitting with you and talking during that time and getting to know you through your work. Which brings me to ask, you said you're feeling like a human being again. Mm-hmm. Were you feeling a sense of disassociation, so to speak?
Yeah, a sense of paranoia, you know, a sense of disassociation, like...
That's something you actually touched upon that in your book.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, can you tell me, like, what had you feeling that way within the recent past, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, recently, even, like, up until, like, I'd say 2024, 2025, I just was, like, you know, too worried about what other people thought of me. I wasn't worried about what I could bring to the table for myself and how I felt about myself as a human. When you're worried about what other people think, like, your mind is just not where it needs to be. You start, you know, hearing voices that aren't really real, and you start to disassociate from yourself. And I had just been chasing, you know, what I thought was what I wanted, but it wasn't what I needed. And it really put me in a bind mentally, because I was, you know, doing all types of drugs from, like, cocaine to ketamine. And it really kind of just, you know, put my brain in a blender. And I had never really experimented with drugs like that. In high school, I was straight as can be. My dad was in the military, Army veteran.
Yeah, he wasn't with that shit.
Yeah, he did not want me partying or doing anything like that. I went to LaSalle Institute, which is now co-ed, but at the time it was all boys. And, you know, it was a very rigid, structured environment where you had to, like, do X, Y, and Z to just get through the day. Mm-hmm. And that helps you, like, as an adult, but it also doesn't help you, because when you're sheltered and you get out into the real world,
you go crazy,
bro. With it.
I'm right there with you, bro. I was sheltered as fuck. And when you know, God rest her soul, when my mother died, I started wilding out here, bro. You want to talk about being out here? Mm-hmm. Bro, I was out here, and then my pops passed, and I was really out here, and then the next thing you know, it's like, all right, man, I need to chill, or otherwise I'm going to be knocking on the door of a fucking psych ward.
Yep, you know exactly. I didn't sleep for 2 weeks on a coke bender.
Oh, God.
And I was just in this apartment actually, freaking the
Probably
fuck out.
bugging it. Yeah, I
was
imagine.
bugging the fuck out, you know. I wasn't sleeping, obviously. I was seeing things like hallucinations.
Ooh.
I was hearing voices of like ex-partners and like acquaintances and like former friends telling me I'm fucking up. Like they were telling me like shit, like I might even like have something wrong with like down there and like STDs and shit like that. Just wild fucking shit.
The
dude.
voice is telling you got crabs or some shit.
No,
Yo, that's
telling
crazy.
me I got herpes or some shit.
So you
like
got
that.
herpes, bro? Oh shit.
It was fucking wild. And my mom's an occupational therapist, so it obviously freaked her the fuck out.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
next thing you know, I'm in the hospital going to, I'm in an ambulance, going to Samaritan, and I'm in the mental ward for like 2 weeks. And that shit was just polarizing. You know, you're seeing people on drugs, you're seeing people just dealing with like schizophrenia and like other mental issues, like in an enclosed space for like 2 weeks straight, and you're like, God damn, like, what the fuck is going on with my life? No pun intended. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it was probably the craziest thing to like have to recover from something like that. Because before that, I thought that I had it not so much made, but I had a sense of routine. I was a writer for the New York State Assembly, ghostwriting for politicians. And, you know, I was making a decent enough salary where I could afford, you know, this place and like afford to like be independent enough to where I didn't need help from my family at the time. But my behavior was just, it wasn't okay. Like, I was going to dive bars, like just getting hammered like every day, you know, like drinking beers and, you know, like smoking cigs. And then like, if that wasn't enough, I'd go to, you know, go to the bathroom. Somebody's got some coke with them. Next thing you know, I'm doing a couple lines. I pop out, get a second wind, and I'm right back to it. And, you know, that shit has consequences, you know? So it's funny that you mentioned that I'm a mental health advocate because, you know, when you lose your mental health, I think that it's important to at least bring it to people's attention to care. And I'm glad that, like, my story can hopefully, like, help people and that this book can relate to not just African Americans who are struggling with being at peace with themselves and being in like, you know, alienating spaces, but, you know, just to show that like the heart and the head, they can argue sometimes. And it's important to get that on the same page, you know, in order to like keep going every day. Cause, you know, life throws curveballs at you like every single day. And some days you strike out. And, you know, I struck out pretty hard. Like, it was, you know, with the game on the line. And, you know, I struck out looking instead of, you know, putting a bat to the ball and, like, you know, putting a swing out there. Now I'm, you know, going up to the plate every day with a mentality of what can I learn today and what can I do to have the best at-bat possible. And I don't want to use the sports analogies OD, but
I was
that's
just
the
gonna
best
say,
way
bro,
to, like,
that's some real masculine shit right there, man. I love it. I love it, brother.
But yeah, you know, like just putting your best foot forward every day and seeing what you can do in life. And, you know, I'm blessed to, you know, have the support from my mother and my father that I did to get through that period of my life and, you know, and rebound. And, you know, even though I'm just scooping ice cream and slinging beer right now, you know, I'm glad that I'm able to be out in the workforce and do my thing.
Dog, you're doing what you gotta do to survive, man.
Exactly.
I don't want to just say survive because that makes it sound like you're just getting by.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you're doing all right, my guy. You got your own apartment. You know what I'm saying? You got food on the table. You know what I mean? You got walking around money to treat yourself to whatever it is you may want here and there, bro. You ain't hurting for nothing. Shit, you got plenty of shoes. I see you got a PS5 over there. You got books, bro. You got a toaster over there. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? I don't. You know what I mean?
See, I view that shit as meager. You know what I mean? Because I've held that shit on. I've held on to that shit for like since I moved in here in like 2022, and like I got the PS5 when I was working for Amazon back in like 2021, and my dad bought that for me.
Rock and
You
roll.
know, so like my parents have been able to like, you know, keep me afloat. To where now I can just say, hey, if I want to add to it, I can add to it. But life is just a daily struggle, fam. Like, I'd be happy if I have enough money to, like, get lunch, you know, get dinner. You know, I have that small-ass kitchen. This is a small-ass studio apartment, but it's under $1,000.
Which in this economy, bro, you gotta
location, you gotta take what you can get.
It's a good location too. You're really in the heart of Albany.
Exactly. I'm in the hardest. I'm like right near Center Square. Right near the culture, right near the scene, and it's taught me a lot. Cause when I lived in Troy, like Troy is great. I love that city. Like that's my second hometown. Like I always loved the Bronx, where I was raised until I was 10 years old and moved up. But like Troy is where I really, got to know my father on a better level because he was already up here. Saw my parents come together and get married, and went through middle school and high school up here and my formative years up here, and got used to like the slower pace of life and being able to just see what upstate has to offer, being out in nature, meet different types of people from like different areas, different cultures, whether that's the country side of things or like the urban side of things. Like this area is so diverse and there's so many artists here that are like talented. But the issue I think that we've noticed, I hope you've noticed it too, because, when we collaborated, it was rare, is to just like work with one another. I think that everybody is easily, not so much caught up in their own head, but, like out to get theirs, and it's cutthroat out here. And it's a shame because you can learn from other artists in different disciplines, and be able to just be like, like you bring something that's different. And I've dated like a bunch of writers recently, and even though it hasn't worked out personally, like relationship wise, like I've learned what to do and what not to do as a person. And I've also learned like how to become a better writer, how to take my time with things, how to edit, how to really convey a message that's universal instead of subjective. That's always been my struggle, because I'm an only child, like,
same,
and like, it's not an excuse anymore to say that, you got to be mindful. And being mindful is so important, but it's not as easy as it sounds. It's so easy to just get caught up in yourself. So, now that I've had these experiences with, different types of relationships and friendships and acquaintances in the city, I've been able to just kind of get a better sense of who I am and, what I want and what I need in life. And I think that that's made all the difference, especially recently, and just keeping going every single day.
I want to backtrack a bit, because you got into your childhood. You're from the Bronx.
Yeah.
And you moved up to Troy. And you got into your childhood in your formative years. You talked about being the only child. Let me ask you, what was your experience like as the only child? For me, it was complicated because it's like, you would think as the only child, you always get attention. But I was always seeking attention. I felt like it wasn't enough. And then I would often do shit, attention seeking, that would get me into trouble. And my mother had a really like stern style of punishment. She was just like, yo, go in your room, turn the TV off, go to bed. It's like fucking 4 p.m. You know what I mean? So it's like, that shit feel like solitary.
No,
so
I can totally relate. My dad, being the Army veteran that he is, his shit was corporal. Like, there are times where I would call him out on something, and I love those sirens. It's all living in Albany. But there are times where we'd get into arguments and we'd get physical, and sometimes he would use a belt on me and stuff like that, and it was kind of like very corporal punishment. There was a story this one time where I was getting hockey gear, and I bought these elbow pads, and I left the elbow pads in the store. And my dad was like, I bought those, like, F you, like, go get them, and I'm not going to drive you. So I walked from the RPI campus in Troy all the way to Latham.
Damn.
All the way to, like, Latham Circle to get these, like, elbow pads. Like, in the middle of the day, like, it turned into night. Like,
wow. You got a good sense of direction, bro.
Dude, like...
I'll give you that.
It was just straight up Route 2, you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
But I totally understand where you're coming from. It's like little stuff like that I still remember from my childhood that hardened me to, like, you know, be resilient, but also, like, not be stupid. And I think that when I graduated high school, I'd been so sheltered and, like, so, like, go to school, go home, do your homework, play hockey and baseball, go
rigid.
to bed.
Yeah.
Like, it was so rigid that when I went to college, I first started going to college at SUNY ESF in Syracuse.
Okay.
And it was, like, on the Syracuse University campus. And Syracuse was the #1 party school at the time. And you get a sheltered kid like me in an environment like that where you're seeing girls for the first time. You know, really, it kind of threw me for a loop, and I didn't handle it well at all. Like, I went from, like, being a book smart kid to, you know, going to parties, like, every weekend, and then it becomes every night. And I wasn't doing the hard drugs back then, but I was drinking like a fish. There was one party that I went to that was a birthday party for someone. And my friends, or my acquaintances at the time who went to school with me, because it was such a small school, everybody knew everybody. And we were freshmen, so we were all in the same dorm hall. We went to the party and it wasn't ready yet, so they went to a different party. But I was like, I'm going to this birthday party because I knew a dude at Syracuse who went to LaSalle. So I get into this birthday party and it's like unlimited Yingling for $7. They just had like fridges and like racks on racks on racks on racks of Yingling, and they also had a bartender there who was chilling in the kitchen, and shots were $1 each.
Oh, wow.
And I had $10 on me. So I was just like, here's $10.
Line them up.
Line them up. Give me the beers, and let's go to work.
Have mercy.
Next thing you know, I'm blackout, and I'm getting carried by like 2 dudes, and one of them recently passed away.
Oh, God.
You know, unfortunately. I don't know what health issue he had, but he recently passed away. But it was him and his cross-country teammate, and they're carrying me like this, and cops were like stopped in front of us, and they got out the car and started running towards us, and these are 2 white dudes. They dropped me, you know, in the middle of the street.
Oh, my God.
So I'm thinking, great, like, I'm getting arrested for public intoxication and underage drinking. I was only 18 at the time. I'm thinking game over.
Oh, my God.
Guess what happened? The cops hopped over me. They literally ran, and they took a step, and they, like, ran around me and, like, hopped over me to get to a drug deal that was happening down the street.
Oh, wow.
So it was, like, the luckiest...
They hopped over you to...
Well, they were running full speed.
They were running full speed and hopped
like,
over
I
you.
see one step over me, and I'm like, oh, I thought you were coming after me for being, like,
Yo.
drunk as fuck. You know, so I kind of laugh about that sometimes, because...
I mean, yeah.
You know, like, it was so close to, like, just being game over for me then.
I'm glad that that you didn't get jammed up, but at the same time, I kind of wish somebody would have checked in on you. Like, you could have had, like, alcohol poisoning. I mean, obviously, the cops are preoccupied with that, but, you know what I mean? I guess, it would have been nice if somebody would have tapped in with
Somebody
you to make
been
sure,
like, hey, you're good, because I had to tell them, like, yo, like, I'm too drunk, because I dropped a beer. I had, like, 2, I was double fisting, and I dropped one, and I'm like, yo, I'm too drunk, like, I gotta go home. And it was, like, a good 15, 20-minute walk across campus to get home. But they ended up getting me home. They picked me up, and they got me back to the dorm. And I was so intoxicated that I peed next to my roommate's bed, thinking it was the bathroom.
Oh, God. Oh, shit.
Next morning, he was like, yeah, man, we had to clean that up. And I'm like, what? And he was like, you tried to go to the bathroom, and you thought that the wall was the toilet next to my bed, and you pissed next to my bed.
I mean, yo, bro, it be like that, man. I mean, I've never done that, but I've heard stories of people pissing on themselves. I've heard stories of people shitting on themselves or going to the bathroom and taking a shit and missing the toilet completely, which is fucking wild, bro.
Like, I've been, like, recently just dating people who, like, drink and smoke, and it's been, like, interesting. Like, some of them will do edibles, you know, and I respect that, you know, like, they don't want to smoke the THC. They do, like, a little bit of edibles, and, like, had a couple of girlfriends who were like cutting it in half, you know, doing little microdosing and stuff like that. But, you know, I love a good, you know, I'm not going to front, like, I love a good seltzer or beer and a smoke. Like, it just gets me, like, you know, at a relaxed, like, crossfaded level where I can just get out of my head, you know, and be creative and write. Not only that, but also, like, be at peace with myself. I know it sounds fucked to say, but
I get it.
But, like, when you're sober, like, you have to take all of those things into account and, like, you know, live to see, like, tomorrow, you know, and, like, be okay with, like, the decisions that you make. And if you make mistakes, you got to feel all of that, you know, emotionally, physically, you know, so on and so forth. Like, you have to take all of that into account. And, like, I've always been a believer in moderation, to be honest with you. Like, I've done the AA, I've done the rehab.
Yeah,
like,
same. I've done AA.
I've went there, you know, I've tried to be, like, completely sober, and then I've went Cali sober, and now I'm just, like, you know, having, like, a beer or two here or there, and, you know, having a joint once in a while. And I'm at a place with it where it's not a crutch anymore.
Good.
And I'm thankful for that, but I'm always keeping in mind if it gets to that level, I'm not afraid to, like, go back to using those resources, you know, to get myself completely clean and clear, you know, because there's a big drinking culture here. I'm not gonna front. Like, on Center Square, like, you see the bars, you got Susie's, Palais, Lionheart, etc., so on and so forth, Pint Size, you know, places where you can go and, like, get a cheap beer and just get destroyed, and it won't cost you an arm and a leg, but you'll be getting carried out the bar like I was, you know, or getting kicked out like I was. So it's important to, like, keep everything in mind and, you know, make sure that you're not overcompensating and using it for the wrong reasons. And now that I'm a bartender again, like, I've dealt with drunk people recently, and you know, seeing that from the outside has made me just think twice about, like, how I comport myself and, like, how much I drink and how much I smoke, you know, and how much I do certain libations, because you never know what can happen when you're on those things, and you never know what you can do. So I think that, you know, it's always up to the person to decide how they want to go about things and how they feel, and, you know, just be there for support and advice. And that's how I kind of view it on myself, and to, like, give myself grace but not be too laxed, and, you know, just keep everything in mind as, you know, you live every day.
That's a fact, brother. So, as an only child, you were very sheltered. You got to the point where you finally got some freedom and you went crazy with it. If there's one thing I remember from your book, you said that you were nonverbal up until the age of 5.
Yes.
What I want to know is, given that in your early childhood experiences, what's the first memory that made you feel different from other kids?
I mean, going to special ed until I could talk.
Sure.
I think that alienated me pretty hard. Like, I went to progressive, like, private schools because of my disability until I was in 8th grade, and then I went to LaSalle, and then that was, like, my first taste of, like, real education, and even that wasn't public school, you know? So I think that there was this one memory that I had of being in a playground in Harlem, and I wanted to play with these kids who were my age, and they told me no. And I broke down and I started crying.
Your first sense of rejection.
First sense of rejection.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom hugging me, and, you know, they weren't mean about it. They were just like, we don't want to play with you, you know what I mean? And, like,
Jesus.
and
There's no way, you're not going to take that any other way.
you're not going to take that any other way when you're at an age when you're, like, young enough to be, like, on the playground playing, you know? So I still remember those, you know, memories. And I also remember, like, different, you know, memories of the city that shook me too. Like, it was my 9th birthday and I was playing a Little League game for Harlem Little League because my mom didn't want me to play at Castle Hill Ave. Like, Castle Hill is, like, pretty rugged in the Bronx.
Okay.
So she was like, you can do Little League in Harlem, because I went to school in Manhattan. So we could like stop in between on the way home and like go to practice, and then if there were games, we could just take public transport there. There was a shooting after a game, and it was on my birthday.
Oh my God.
And in Rucker Park.
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay.
And I just remember getting down like like the dugout was here, and I just remember like getting down like this, you know, trying to like shield myself, and like I was just worried like my mom got shot and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
So like that memory, being on a train, coming home from school during 9/11. When I was 8 years old, seeing people covered in dust.
Wow, yo, that's so crazy. I remember when I first heard about 9/11, I was in a classroom. I remember it was so silent you could hear a pin drop. I was in the second grade, I think. What grade were you? Yes.
I was in the third grade.
Third grade?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because you're a year older than me. What year did you graduate?
I graduated high school 2011.
Oh, we graduated the same year. Maybe I was in the third grade. Either way, I remember being on the carpet and hearing my teacher talk about that shit, and understanding that it was heavy, but I didn't really get the magnitude of it. You know, I couldn't imagine being in the midst of that. You know what I mean? You probably were like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, I mean,
it probably felt like the world was ending. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because we had just visited the World Trade Center a year ago, and like it was my favorite observation deck. You know, just being out in the open up there, and like I was like smiling and happy, and the next thing you know, my teacher's telling me like we don't know if they're collapsed or not. My mom picks me up, and like she worked at a public school across Central Park, so she picks me up like pretty late. It was me and then this other girl whose dad was an airline pilot. We were the only two kids left to get picked up.
Oh, wow.
So we were both just asking each other like, what's going on here? And my mom picks me up, we go to get pizza. On the way back to her job, she's like, don't look at the TV, don't look at the TV. You know me, of course, I'm going to look at the TV.
Of course.
And there's this woman with her daughter hiding behind an overturned car. And one of the towers is just collapsing. And the dust is just billowing towards them.
Oh,
it was the craziest, most surrealist shot I had ever seen on the news in my fucking life.
It's like some movie shit. Wow.
Yeah, and like, you know, it's like something out of a movie. And being on we had to take the 2 train home because the 6 train wasn't running because it was in Lower Manhattan, obviously. And like, you know, the collapse, it just affected all of the Lower Manhattan, you know, train stations because the 6 goes to the Brooklyn Bridge. And it goes through like that area. So we had to take like different trains home. My aunt, who was working on Lower Manhattan at the time, she had to walk in heels from Lower Manhattan all the way to the East Bronx where we lived. And it took her the whole day. And like her feet were bleeding and stuff like that. You see people coughing up a lung and dust and stuff. Like, I think that was like the first moment where like I didn't feel safe in the city anymore. And then I had the shooting at my baseball game, which I just mentioned, and then my house in the Bronx got robbed like September of 2002. And that was like the last straw for my mom. And she was just like, I know that your dad and I aren't really like together right now, but we're going to like try to make it work to give you like a safer opportunity, you know, just to live and, you know, go. And we just left in 2003 to move upstate. And, you know, I miss a lot of my friends down there because, you know, like, people up here can be kind of, like, small, townish, and, like, judgmental.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and what I've realized is that you can't take that shit to heart. And I was, like, so sensitive, you know, being from, like, the city where, like, you can do whatever and, like, be who you are, to, like, people having stereotypes about you up here, you know, especially, like, back then, you know, like, even, because things have changed, like, it's 2026 now, like, there's a lot more openness with like certain things, but back then, like, it was like 2003, 2004, 2005, you know, people were like, oh, what's wrong with you? Like, why weren't you talking? You know, and like, why do you talk a certain way? You know, like, you're a black guy. Like, you should, you know, comport yourself a certain type of way.
Yeah.
And like, why do you listen to rock music? You know, stereotypes like that.
I remember when I was in the 7th grade, Helena was a song by My Chemical Romance.
Oh, I know.
Oh my God, I loved that song. That's back when MTV would show music videos like nonstop in the morning, and I would watch that. I would watch that music video. I would love that. It was a System of a Down had a song out.
Chop Suey or Toxicity?
Was it Toxicity? I think it was Toxicity.
Yeah.
That, and it was some other shit, bro. But the point is, I love that My Chemical Romance. That era of My Chemical Romance was fire. I remember singing that song in English class, and this white kid caught me. He's like, "You know you're singing a rock song, right?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." You know what I'm saying? Because you can't, the black kid, you can't let motherfuckers know. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know this fucking kid. This kid might tell my friends. I listen to rock music. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, you know, at that age, it's like, nah, you gotta carry yourself a certain way. And when you articulate yourself well as a black man and shit, people are like, oh, you talk like you white.
Oh yeah. You know, I've touched upon that in this
in your book. Yeah, you did.
You know, like LaSalle was such a polarizing experience for me. And it wasn't, I know that I'm not the only black boy who went through similar experiences at LaSalle. There was a black boy named Kevin Ondehe who committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
In 10th grade at LaSalle. And you want to know how he did it?
I'm curious. What's up?
He walked to the Congress Street Bridge and jumped into the Hudson River.
Oh, wow.
From like the apex of the Congress Street Bridge. And like he had been getting bullied at LaSalle. And that story, like, it still tears me up. Like, I'm getting emotional about it now because I know what he went through. Like, I remember 8th grade vividly to, like, this day, like, getting called Oreo off the rip, getting called nigger off the rip, you know, and being told that, like, I'm white, you know, when I'm clearly not.
Yeah.
You know, and that polarizes you, you know?
It does.
And it makes you think twice about being in those spaces, and makes you think about your culture and where you come from a lot more.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I'm thankful for, because I think at times I have been like guilty of having a proximity to whiteness, you know? I had an old acquaintance call me out on that, you know, on Facebook. He was just like, I think you have a proximity to whiteness, fam. Like, I feel bad for you. And I'm like, don't feel bad for me. You know, like, I've been surrounded by Republicans. I've been surrounded by progressives. You know, I've seen the pros and cons of both. And yes, I stick my neck out sometimes, and people are like, oh, you sound crazy for not liking both sides. But I love being able to hear both sides of the ledger or have my own independent thought process when it comes to politics, because it's either way it's going to be convoluted, and you have to form your own ideas and your own mind, or else you're going to go crazy with it. I never voted for Trump, but in local elections I voted for, you know, some like one or two conservatives over the Democrats because of how the Democratic candidates were campaigning or how they were treating me. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, what are you doing? You're black. Like, do you hate yourself? Like, are you a black conservative? And the answer is no. Like, I'm a registered Democrat. I voted for Harris. I voted for Bernie in the 2016 primary. I voted for Clinton. Like, I've asked about Trump with Trumpers. I've been like, hey, what do you see in this dude?
That's just curiosity.
But that's just curiosity.
It's a symptom of intellectualism.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
Yeah,
I think that it would be naive to just be like, oh, they're just idiotic, you know?
Absolutely.
There's a reason as to why he's in office a second time.
There's a reason why he's a cult leader. You know what I'm saying? That shit is deep, bro.
Yeah, and
you
like
know?
there's Nicki Minaj now being MAGA, you know? And
Yo,
like,
it's so crazy you say that. I was listening to Good Form with Lil Wayne on the way here, and I was just like, yo, I hope Nicki gets freed from whatever the fuck is going on
dude,
inside of her.
I hope Kanye gets freed too.
I mean, he apologized. I love Kanye. I want to believe that he's on the up and up. You know what I'm saying? I want to believe he's on the up and up. I mean, he's made the effort. He did the public apology. People seem to be viewing him in a better light now. Nicki Minaj, not so much. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping she takes that step. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but whatever it is, I need Nicki. The culture needs Nicki to get it together, man. She's a vital part of. I mean, she was a major part of culture when we were growing up. I remember when her first album dropped, man. I really wasn't into female rappers like that. I mean, I had Eve's album Scorpion. And I had the Lil Kim's album, La Bella Mafia.
That's funny. I remember in the city, I got in trouble for. She had an album called "Suck My Dick." I'm pretty sure, or a single at least.
Okay.
And like it was a poster, like you know those like post no bills type things in the city. And I said it, and my mom was like, "What are you saying? Like you can't be saying that. You're only like 8 years old."
You know, and I'm just like, that's what, you know what I mean?
That's what she be writing about. You know like she be raunchy. You know, but that was like my first introduction to female rap. I remember Flowetry.
Flowetry. You know? I never got into Flowetry. It took me a while to get into conscious rap. So it really took me a while to get into conscious rap performed by women.
Speaking of conscious rap, how do you feel Talib Kweli? What do you think of him?
Oh, I mean, he's amazing. He's an amazing lyricist. I can't say I'm a fan. I've never sought out any Talib Kweli music, but whenever it was on, I never turned it off. Talib Kweli, I mean, he's one of the best lyricists, you know what I mean, of our generation. You know what I'm saying? Him,
exactly.
Mos Def,
Black Star,
Black Thought,
Common,
Pharaoh Monarch.
Yep.
Farouk Monarch, yes. Monch.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Monch?
Yeah,
Farouk Monch.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He's incredible. Like you said, Common, I mean, Lupe Fiasco. Then, I mean, it paved the way for people like J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar. I mean, and we're missing a bunch of other guys, but I say all I had to say, like, you know, Nicki Minaj, when I was in high school, like, I openly fucked with her because it was like a lot of guys were like, nah, she's ass, blah, blah, like, nah, Nicki Minaj is nice, bro. And that's I fuck with Nicki Minaj, and I fucked with the theatrics she brought to the table. It was like some real like animated shit, but it was cool, man. It was it was like some MTV illustrated shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the energy she had. And I remember when she had that song with Eminem, what the fuck was it called? God, like a Dungeon Dragon. What the Roman's Revenge.
Yes.
Oh my God. Bro. That shit was a movie. Bro, look, free
They played
Nicki.
Super Bass at work.
Oh, word.
And now it's just like we're at an ice cream store. Like, why are you playing Super Bass?
Yeah.
You know? But it was interesting, you know. Like,
it's like, dude,
I hadn't heard it in a while.
Free Nicki from this mental prison. Nicki, I hope she gets the help she needs to you know find her way through whatever the fuck this is.
Dude, it's easy to become bitter. You know, I think that a lot of it, I remember when I was like, went down a conservative rabbit hole for a little bit, I was just bitter with like how I was being treated in society. And
can you elaborate on that? Like, how are you being treated that pushed you away from your core values?
I think that like being around like a progressive family, like my parents, like my mom's a staunch Democrat, but my dad's an independent who views himself as progressive.
Okay.
And I went to progressive schools and went to college with a lot of like progressive, like hippy dippy people. You know, they preach like peace and love and all that, but behind closed doors, they can be equally as catty as like, you know, the next person, you know, and equally say things that are hurtful, rude, like just inconsiderate. And they talk, I've noticed that like sometimes when they're trying to get a point across, they like talk down to you, you know, a little bit. Instead of educating, they're just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And that always gave me the heebie-jeebies because it brought me back to being nonverbal. It brought me back to being like,
oh wow,
you know, just not viewed as normal. And
yeah.
So like that bitterness coupled with like having relationships with like women who were very progressive, but also like black sheeps of their family, coming from like conservative backgrounds, and how it ended with like being cheated on, being lied to, being hit, like it just left a bitter taste in my mouth to the point where I was like, how can I subscribe to something that isn't really living up to the expectations that they're setting? You know, not that conservatives are by any means. It's not like I'm wearing a red hat going, yo, like, you know, make America great again. But it's one of those things where it's like, I don't feel a part of this. You know, I'm going to stand on my own 2 feet and just keep an open mind with it. Like, my best friend from high school, he used to be very liberal as well. Like, and we both talk about politics a lot because we're both like center left in a sense. Like, we believe in social justice, obviously. Like, we believe in rights for like LGBTQIA. It's not like we're bigots, but there are certain aspects of, you know, that culture and that scene that, you know, kind of just, it's a shame, you know, like, it's disheartening and it could be better. And then when we stress like these improvements and trying to like get people on the same page and like be more cohesive, you know, we're met with a little bit of pushback. And it's easy to just say, all right, if you don't want my advice and you don't want my 2 cents, I'm going to go my own way, you know? And not to say that, like, that's the healthiest thing in the world, but when I see a black conservative or, like, a black Trumper, I don't say, what the fuck is wrong with you? I say, what's bothering you? Why are you hurting this way? Like you said, like a mental prison. Like, what has you so bitter? It's similar to, like, men becoming misogynists after a breakup, or being or like the men go their own way movement, where it's like, oh, like, she broke my heart, so I'm gonna treat women like shit. You know, like, it's not really the best move in the world, but we're humans. Like, it's human nature to have emotion and to feel a certain type of way about things, and
it's human nature to develop bias based on trauma. Yeah.
And that's the perfect way to describe it. It's unfortunate, but I developed a bias based on trauma towards, you know, the real leftist because of my experiences dating them and like how they treated me. Like, one of them hit me in the head with a book by a black author.
Why?
Because she was calling herself the Italian Pam Grier, and I called her out on it.
The fuck? Okay. All right.
And then like the other one, like the one after her, you know, not to make it like, oh, feel sorry for me, but she was cheating on me with her ex, who I thought that she wasn't seeing anymore because he was a communist.
Oh.
And
because he was it's crazy, bro. I'm a firm believer in communism, but I don't support that. What you just described is fucked up. I don't, you know what I mean? Chicks out here busting it open just because somebody's communist. Like, what the fuck is going on here?
I recently had this girl who's progressive, who I was dating. I didn't have sex with her for the whole time. Didn't have sex with her for 3 months, and She had the nerve to tell me we would be further along in a relationship if you were more progressive. It had nothing to do with my character. It had nothing to do with my skin color. It had everything to do with my politics.
But bro, you know, I noticed...
Telling me I had skin in the game and like I needed to believe certain things and like I shouldn't be like taking tidbits from like certain politicians. Like, she got on me hard about Mamdani versus Cuomo.
It's like a contest to see who's can be the most
purity contest.
Liberal. Yeah.
Purity contest.
Who's the most woke type
Thank you.
shit. You know
Thank
what I mean?
you.
And that
you hit the nail right on the fucking head.
Yeah, and that creates this positive toxicity almost. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, yo, this is way
Thank you, BradQuan. I've been screaming this from the rooftops.
Yeah.
And getting met with, you're fucking nuts.
I mean, bro, I've been saying that we're in fascism, and that's a fact. Whether you believe we're in fascism or we're on the road to fascism, either way, it's in the conversation. Motherfuckers look at me like I have 10 heads. I'm like, bro, you gotta do the research. It's out there. I'm not just some wild ass conspiracy theorist with the fucking 10 hat on. Like, nah, dog. Like,
thank you.
The 10 steps
exactly.
that outline fascism. Like, we check the boxes. What you're saying, like, that's a thing. Like, all these, if you're really paying attention, it's hard to miss. But the thing about it is, when you have big hearts like us, when you are artistically inclined and shit, we care so much about the betterment of society that we forget to give to ourselves, and it stops us from being able to progress. And that's when it becomes a problem, and that's what people tend to like to focus on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Ignorance is bliss for a reason. You know what I mean? You see these people are happy, you see these people tend to be further along because they're not dragging along just the weight of the woes of society, the weight of societal woes. You know what I mean? They're not dragging that shit along. Like they can. You got to learn to compartmentalize, but you have to be tapped in, but you can't be so plugged in to the point where
you lose the plot.
100%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you lose the plot. And that's something that I went through before.
Yeah, same.
I went on my coke bender and didn't sleep for 2 weeks straight. I had this black dude at Palais before I couldn't go there anymore.
Oh, shit.
He told me, like, yo, you gotta stop watching the news.
Type shit?
Yeah, he told me that type shit. Because he's like, you got a heart of gold, but it's fucking with your head.
It does. Because you gotta think, bro, it's constant, it's a perpetuation of negativity. It ain't nothing positive. You know what I'm saying? It's mad fucking negativity. And it's like, yo, like, it's so parasitic to people who are empathetic.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I've had my empathy questioned a lot recently.
Wow.
And
wow.
A lot by white women. I've had it questioned a lot. And it's been interesting to me because they don't know what it's like to live in the skin.
100%.
They don't know what it's like to have to watch everything that you say and have it be misconstrued and have your respect be lost and have scrutiny come onto you before you even say a word, or if you say something, be completely just destroyed. And I think it's hurt me, you know, because I view myself as a pretty damn empathetic person. If you've read my writing and you've met me, I'm not some dude who's gonna be like, who are you, or fuck you. Like, I'm gonna ask you, hey, like, how's your day going? Like, what's up with you? Like, I'm always willing to have a conversation with anybody. I see these homeless people and these mentally ill people that the sheriff of Lark Street keeps videotaping. And it's just like, instead of videotaping them, like...
Wait, the sheriff... Yeah, I know.
Give him a fucking helping hand.
Somebody on TikTok interviewed him. The sheriff of Lark Street. I think I might follow him on one of my accounts.
Oh, I know that podcast, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, it was on a podcast.
Yeah. What? Wait, so the sheriff of Lark Street is filming homeless people?
He's filming the mentally ill.
Why?
Because he's saying that, like, that needs to be addressed for Albany to get to a place where it needs to be.
But what is he doing to actually help?
That's my question, and that's my problem with it. He's not really, like, I don't see him, like, advocating. I don't see him, like, doing any, well, he talks about it, obviously.
But it's like, okay, it's like, in your own way, you're protesting, right?
Exactly.
But what the fuck comes after the protest?
Thank you.
Like, how are we advancing? Like, yes, you're letting it be known, like, you've identified a problem. Now, what the fuck are you gonna do about it?
Literally.
You're saying he ain't doing shit. Let's just be honest. He ain't doing shit.
He ain't doing shit.
The fuck, bro?
I think he should run for office if he wants to really do shit.
Okay.
Instead of being on a soapbox.
Okay.
You know, because, like, that's the only way he's really gonna change things.
What exactly is his position? Like, does he own a business or something? Like, who is this guy?
He owns New Scotland Spirits on Lark Street.
Oh, I think my friends actually work for that place. What's this guy's name?
Jesse Sommer.
Oh, yeah, my friends know him. Okay. Yeah, oh, wow. Small world. Well, Jesse, what the fuck, man? You know what I mean? Get off the soapbox, bro. Run for office or something, man. You got it. Let's fucking get it. You know, hell, I wouldn't mind.
Put your money where your mouth is, fam. Because I've given him a salute. I haven't come up to him and be like, yo, what the fuck is your problem? You know, I'm going to keep it respectful. Because I can see where he's coming from in certain points. But at the same time, I got to tell the dude, like, you got to do something about it eventually, fam.
Yeah.
You got to, like, and you have the political science background. You're a cis hetero white male. Mm-hmm. You can easily run. Mm-hmm. Go for it. Mm-hmm. You own a business in Lark Street that people go to. Mm-hmm. I've never been there personally because I just don't want to be around spirits like that.
Yeah,
you know,
I can definitely understand
but
that.
I respect the hustle, you know, like as a small business owner. But like the literary community can't stand him.
The literary community?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because they think that he's just bringing bad attention to Lark Street and dividing the community.
How so?
It's not exactly a kumbaya thing when you're seeing like violence and like homelessness and people who are like mentally unwell being videotaped and then like being made a spectacle out of, you know?
Okay.
And like it's elevated his platform to like where people are like viewing him as like almost like how do you say it? Like a DIY news type of deal.
Oh god.
You know, like, oh, like if you want to post on Lark Street, listen to the sheriff. You know what I'm saying? And like that's problematic because I saw some women comment on this poet who posted about him that the dude is a sex pest.
A what?
A sex pest?
What's that?
Have you heard about like, you know, the sexual harassment claims that happened with Cuomo?
Oh god, yeah.
It's shit like that.
Wait, the sheriff of Lark Street?
That's what she commented on.
That nigga Andrew Cuomo was bugging. Yo, the sheriff of Lark Street is on that type of time, bro?
Dude, that's what this girl was saying. You know, and like he's been on that timing for years.
Oh my god.
You know, and like he's probably gonna be like, oh, I'm not that type of guy. But that's what everyone says. I get questioned on if I'm that way because I just don't like the way that, you know, in terms of like Cuomo, I used to not like him, but I didn't mind him. Then the accusations happened, and then he got disgraced. He had to leave office. Then he runs for mayor. But if you look at his platform, it was the most central platform that was there. Because he had Sliwa and Mamdani who are like on two opposite ends of the spectrum. So it puts people like me in a bind because it's like choose a side here or vote for a sexual harasser. And personally for me, I was like, you know what, I'm going off of the politics here. I'm not going off of the personal. You know, I'm going off of the politics and the policies here. And you can vote for who you want to vote for. That's the whole point of a free country. If I was in the city and I got scrutinized for voting for Cuomo, I would back it up. I'd be like, hey, like, it's not that I hate Mamdani. I just don't want to be associated with that ilk after the way that they treated me. Same with Sliwa. I don't want to be associated with that ilk after the way they've treated me too. Because I'm a black man in America who is born on the spectrum and thinks differently. Doesn't mean that I support that sort of behavior. It just means that, for me, I would want people to allow themselves to be free. That's the whole point of America. Land of the free, home of the brave. Not land of the do as you're told or get fucked.
Unfortunately, that's what it is. Yeah.
And it doesn't help that we have a president who's like this. It really doesn't fucking help, you know? And I hope that we can come together as, like we did for Harbi Naji. I really hope that we can start to come together and start to hear these viewpoints. Because I don't want to be shamed for liking a certain person. I don't want to be shamed for, you know, calling out somebody because my beliefs are different than his. I think that that's the whole point of free speech. You know, and what you saw was free speech in its purest form with Taste of Italy.
Oh, God.
That was somebody talking out of ignorance.
That shit was so stupid.
And it was,
what
it
the
was
fuck
purely
are you
that.
doing?
You
like,
know,
oh
purely
my
that.
God. And on the work fucking Facebook, like, what are you doing? And then she was going on a rant on another video that somebody was recording in the store. They're wild as fuck. He said the N-word, you know what I'm saying? She's on this crusade against Muslim people and who knows who else. Nah, man. I never fucked with Taste of Italy. I used to work at the mattress firm that's next door. And the guys that I worked with would always complain about the cleanliness of the restaurant.
No, dude.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
think that they're keeping clean?
100%. You know what I mean?
They're not even paying taxes.
Fuck it. Oh my God. Well, you know, see, there you go. You know what I mean? And it's just a bunch of. I mean, you know, it sounds to me like the chickens have come home to roost. That's what it sounds like to me.
In all facets. And it's like butting heads.
Yeah, you know
And
what
it's
I'm
only
saying?
going to get worse unless we just say, hey, like, it doesn't mean that you're a shitty person if you believe a certain thing. Just back it up with why. That's what my dad always told me. Like, he told me, like, if I was a black conservative, if I was MAGA, I'd really have to come across with a viewpoint that would make sense.
Yeah.
Because it honestly does not make sense on face value. It's like, they keep saying, why would you be a part of something that hates you? You know what I mean? But it's easy to hate yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that people forget that.
It's easy to hate yourself and feel comfortable within that realm. You know what I mean? So when it's like that, it's like you're living in a state of delusion. You know what I mean? So it's easy to gravitate towards something that hates you because you identify. God, I'm getting kind of tangled up here. You get what I'm trying to say here?
No,
I'm getting kind of tangled up.
You put yourself behind that bar.
Yeah.
You feel me? Or like you put yourself in that mindset where it's like, yeah, you know, like this is how I was treated. This is the trauma that I had. Therefore, I have a right to be this way. Rather than saying, you know what, keeping it objective. Like objectivity versus subjectivity is so important because everybody is going through things, you know. I don't think I've not dated somebody who hasn't been on meds. I'm pretty sure all my partners have been, except my high school girlfriend who was black. All of the white girls that I've dated have been on some sort of medication for mentals. And I'm on medication for mentals too. But I'm talking like Adderall, what else? Like Prozac, you know, like they're suffering.
Yeah.
They're suffering. And they project it. And we've all been guilty of projection, but it hurts me to see them like be, you know, taking these pills and like trying to like gain a sense of normalcy, you know, when the society should just welcome people for being themselves. I personally wish that we didn't have to take medication to fit in.
I mean, I wish that the medication was designed to cure as opposed to just treat.
Treat.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a great way to put it.
Yeah, I wish that was the case, but there's no money in curing. You know what I mean? The money is in treating. You know what I mean? We gotta help these people live with this shit. You know what I mean? As opposed to, you know what I mean, eradicating it entirely. You know what I mean? But that's Western medicine for you.
For you in a nutshell.
You know?
Yeah.
I want to ask. I mean, so it sounds. I mean, you've described some issues you've had with dating white women. Let me ask you. And this is something that it's not something that I like to talk about too as a black man that's dated a good amount of white women. Like, what's your attraction there? Like, why do you feel you prefer white women over black women, or like where does that stem from? Because I can be honest with you, I fuck with black women, but when it comes to dating, I'm still getting over my mommy issues. So it's like a hurdle that I'm still battling. Mm-hmm. So it's like I fuck with black women, but I'm not like really in a space where it's like I'm looking to get involved romantically.
No.
It's like I'm open to it, but I'm not, you know what I'm saying? And it's like I'm trying to get over that because it limits me, right?
Exactly.
It limits us. And I've had issues with white women just like you have. It's like what keeps you going back?
What keeps you going back?
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
And you say mommy issues, I say daddy issues.
Okay. Fair enough.
My parents weren't together until I was 10 years old, and my dad was dating white women.
Okay, that's what you saw. Okay.
So that's what I saw. You know, he'd have these friends who were white women, but you don't know if they're more than friends or not. Like, I couldn't tell. I was too young to, like, know. You know what I mean? But, like, that was just his cup of tea. I mean, he loves my mother to death. I'm not saying that he doesn't. My mom's a saint. I used to feel guilty a lot about it, but I think in the city, it wasn't so much that way because I was friends with this Puerto Rican girl, and we almost kissed one time when we were in like 4th grade. So it's not like I only exclusively date white women, but like moving up here, it's just what's abundant. I've noticed it's what's abundant on the apps. It's what's abundant, like,
Yeah, you're not lying.
in the scene. You know, like I go out, I see like 1 or 2, 3 black women at like the bars around here. You know, I always say what's up. I'm not gonna be like, oh, gotta get to the Caucasian girl. Like, no, I'm gonna, like you said, like we respect and we honor black women. It's not a prejudicial thing. But what keeps me going back is just they have these moments where they show that they care. You know, where they show that they want to understand the culture. You know, especially progressive white women. They want to understand. They want to, you know, help. They want to be able to say, hey, like, I lifted this person up. You know what I mean? And it harkens back to like the white savior complex. You know, and it's such an icky thing to like think about.
It is.
But like, you know, I'll say, like you mentioned J. Cole, you know, like, don't save her, she don't want to be saved. But like some niggas out here, like me in the past, like we were looking to be saved instead of finding that within ourselves.
Type shit. Yeah.
You know, like now I'm in like a different headspace where it's like, okay, like I can actually like think on my own 2 feet and be on my own. But I've seen like positives and negatives to like dating people of like the polar opposite race, you know, because there's culture within white culture. It's not just like Caucasian. There's like Polish, there's Italian, there's Scandinavian, you know, like you name it, like
shit,
Dutch, like you know, like there's intricacies there, and like the only natives in this country were Native Americans. You know, everybody else came on their own accord. The only difference is we were slaves. And we internalize that still, I think. And we don't want to be a slave in a partnership or like in a relationship, I don't think. I'd hope not. If you get what I'm trying to say is like the main issue I have is like having a sense of self and agency at times. And not being told what to believe in and how to be. You know, and that's been an issue for me, you know, and I think what keeps me coming back is you hope is a dangerous thing, but you hope that like, oh, maybe this one's gonna be the one that's like, that person that can like understand and like be the one that makes a difference in my life, you know, somebody that can show me that it isn't black and white. You know, because that way of thinking is, and that way of like segregation is just so poor. You know.
And I think too, like, I haven't always had the best relationship with. Like similar to you, I haven't always had the best relationship with my own culture because I never quite fit into it.
Exactly.
So a lot of black girls never really found me attractive.
Oh. I've had a lot of black girls yell at me and be like, nigga, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Type shit, which is why I kind of strayed away. You know what I'm saying? And not for nothing, I mean, there was some self-hatred within my mother. You know what I mean? I would notice some things that she would say about herself and shit like that. And it's things that you kind of like, that shit like gets embedded within your skull. You know what I mean? And you carry it with you and it manifests into things such as this. You know what I mean? Such as us seeking out, you know what I mean, these women of a different race.
And it's kind of like a forbidden fruit too, a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, like you want to say, hey, like, we used to not be able to date you. Now we can. You know, let me date you. You know what I mean? And like I've noticed that I think that like what would help in that regard would help their understanding of us, you know, and it would help black women too, because I feel terrible sometimes. I think that black women like they see that and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I know.
What are you doing?
And it's like, and it's just like, that's not like, I'm not coming at it. It's not like a hatred thing. It's nothing like that. It's just some shit that I have to deal with within me based on, you know, seeds of trauma. You know what I mean? It's shit I gotta pick out. I gotta pick from the root. And it's like, I haven't been dating at all. You know what I mean? I'm not fucking with anybody. I'm just not thinking about that.
Hey.
I'm in a situation where I'm just trying to.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, dude.
That's a place to be in.
Yeah.
Because it is not easy dating.
No, it's not.
easy
I
at
mean,
all.
it was, you know, when I stopped drinking, I became addicted to sex. And that shit drove me crazy, and I was out here acting like a goddamn fool.
Oh, that's fucking real.
You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
So I got to a point where I'm like, dude, I need to be alone, because nobody's gonna want to be with me. Obviously, I'm the problem. Everywhere I go, there's destruction, there's pain. You know what I'm saying? So what the fuck? You know what I mean? You can't keep pointing the finger here. Like, obviously, the common denominator is I. So what the fuck? So, you know, I've been alone, and I've been enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? Because I always say there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. And I have to really pick through the seeds that still rest within me in order to be able to rest within that serenity to eventually attract the right person for me. Whether the person's black, white, Asian, Hispanic, doesn't matter. But I don't want my trauma I don't want my past to dictate
Your future.
my future. You know what I'm saying? That's not how I'm trying to move. You know what I mean?
No, you that comes up when you're dating too. Like, I've dated casually, I've been in relationships, because I took a break from dating when I had to get my mental straight. I didn't date for like a solid year because I had to get myself right, you know? And I learned a lot. Like, I learned how to deal with loneliness, because I think that loneliness can teach you a lot of things. It can humble you. But I think that, like, when you're dating someone, you have to think of somebody other than yourself, and that can be like a lot of pressure. And one thing I always do is I always give them this. I have to, you know, because if you don't know what I'm writing about and like where I'm coming from, then you're not going to understand what my trauma is. You're not going to understand how to relate to me, and you're not going to understand like what I still need to work on and where I need to grow. You know, you want to do research on the person that you're with. You want to put in the work to know what works and what doesn't, so you can have the right companionship. Because we're all looking for a sense of like belonging, man. You know, we're all just looking to belong. And you know, I think that when you lose your mind and you go crazy with it on drugs or whatever it may be, like, it's easy to feel like an alien. You know?
God, yes. Jesus.
My God, it is easy to feel like an alien. So
I felt like I didn't even belong in this century. I kept aligning myself with 19th century artists, and I'm like, as beautiful as like that shit seems when you romanticize it, like, they did not fuck with niggas. So I'm just like, something's off here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I fuck with Van Gogh. I love him, but at the same time, I think, like, if I actually met Van Gogh, like, would he fuck with me? I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? Edgar Allan Poe, would these people actually rock with me? I can love the work, but I gotta think about the reality of it. And I align myself with these people, and I'm like, okay, I get how I can align with them, but I need to ground myself in a sense of reality. Like, yo, dude, you are not them. You need to get in tune with yourself here and now. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So,
As a poet, like, it's easy to align yourself with like Hughes, Dickinson, Bukowski, but like, I can't be living like Bukowski, man. I'm a black man in America,
That's what
dude.
I'm saying. You know,
like,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and like I had this girl who was also like an artist in Troy. We were at the Whiskey Pickle. She told me I was like a Black Bukowski, and it wasn't a compliment. You know what I'm saying?
Bukowski has been criticized for being a misogynist
Exactly.
and a raging alcoholic.
And a raging alcoholic. So,
I love him as a writer. Excuse me, but as far as his lifestyle, definitely not ideal. But why did she compare you to him?
because of the way I was living, my mood, like my demeanor. Because I'm not gonna front, like I was depressed as fuck.
He was really on some like, why try shit. You
Exactly.
know what I mean? That was like, yeah.
It was like a sense like I'd given up
Uh-huh.
on like advancing myself and like progressing, you know, and like collaborating and like moving forward as an artist. Because my book kept getting delayed. Like this was supposed to come out in 2021, and it didn't come out until 2024. So like every
Jesus Christ. That's a fucking yeah, bro.
you know,
That's
it's hellish
hefty.
because like, you know, I was doing promo like that whole time until I got sick. Like I was doing promo in 2021, you know, and then I went through a couple breakups and, you know, so on and so forth. And I thought that it would come out then and I would take my mind off of it. Didn't happen. 2022, same thing. I'm doing all these readings, doing all these shows, thinking like, okay, like, let me launch this book. We had done a book launch in Troy, so on and so forth. We were ready to go. Then my publisher goes homeless.
Your publisher went homeless?
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So we couldn't publish the shit.
Dude, wow.
So
That's wild.
This has fucking taken my heart, my soul, my blood, my sweat, my tears. Like
Buy that shit. Buy that shit.
like just give it a chance and read it, you know? And I know that it's hard. I know that it's polarizing, and I know that I'm not, you know, your typical African American male, but this shit can help you. Cause it helped me.
But it's like, why do you want typical? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you want something that's cookie cutter? You know what I'm saying? Why?
Yeah.
You don't want different? You don't
want weird?
something that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just like, what the fuck? Like, you want something that's in the box? You want somebody that conforms to all these norms, to the rigidity of traditionality? Like, that's really what you want? That's really where you see peace? That's really where you see growth? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I just know. I can't.
Fuck that.
Yeah. Like,
I've been told that I wasn't going to amount to anything when I wasn't talking until I was 5. I've been put in a fucking box since I was a baby.
I'm glad you brought that up because that gives us a good segue into the next question. What do you remember feeling during that time that you couldn't yet put into words?
Anxiety, alienation, depression, feeling like I couldn't have goals. Like I just had to like be able to talk at some point. Like there were times where I'd have to go to like social skills to like up my social game because I've been playing catch up my whole life. Mm-hmm. There's still things that I like say and like stuff that I'm like, ugh. You know, if I was normal, I probably wouldn't have said that. But like you said, there's no such thing as normal.
Yeah, weird is the only
Weird is like the only normal.
That's a fact, you know what I'm
But
saying?
I just remember feeling like shit a lot of the time. I remember feeling like, you know, this can't be what life is. I have to prove these people wrong. I have to prove the doctors wrong. I have to prove these kids wrong that didn't want to play with me on the playground or knew I wasn't in public school. Like I had to prove my worth, you know, and that can take a toll on you at that age. You know, I couldn't express that into words. Like I was just silent about it. I could cry about it, you know, and I could scream about it, but
I couldn't imagine the agony of feeling this fucking storm within that you can't release.
Yeah, you can't express.
Oh my God.
All I could do was use sign language and write.
Fair enough.
You know, and that's why when I was 8 years old, I fell in love with Langston Hughes, and I just dove right into poetry, man. Like,
Yeah, I dove into Langston Hughes later in life. Yeah.
but I was a fan of him when I was younger. Like, I just knew, like, my mom showed me, like, this book report I did in 3rd grade, and it was about Langston Hughes, and I was like, And they were like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, I want to be a poet. And, like,
I love
I'm
that.
a fucking poet, man.
Yes, you are.
You know, and I say that because what I want people to take out of life and what I want people to take out of my art and, like, just me as a person is, like, don't let people tell you what you can and can't be. Like, if you have a goal and a dream, dude, just fucking do it, man. Just fucking do it. And it doesn't matter what the naysayers say. It doesn't matter what others think, you know, because there's gonna be, like, opposition everywhere you go and, like, whatever you do. But if you have, like, a dream, like, don't just leave it as a dream, you know, like, just make it a reality. And you're gonna have people who support you in that. You're not gonna be alone in that regard. And that's why I appreciate people like you and, you know, the people I've come across in life who've read this book and, like, bought this book and, like, come to readings that I've had. You know, every person that I've run into matters. Like, I ran into this veteran who had PTSD from Afghanistan, and he was at an open mic at McGarry's. I used to do the open mic at McGarry's before the late Mother Judge passed away. And he just started crying at my poetry, like, straight up bawling, like, tears. And this was way before I wrote this.
Bless you.
So I came up to him and I was like, why are you crying? Hold on. Sorry. Allergy season, man.
You good?
And he just said, dude, like, your poetry touched me in a way that I haven't been able to, like, put into words or, like, feel since I came back from war. You know, and he just hugged me and he said thank you, and he was, like, crying, and I was just like, you know, that's the shit that I love. You know, that's the shit that brings a tear to my eye, fam.
It really hits
You know, it really just hits the nerve and hits the soul because, like you said, it's a quiet storm that, like, is raging inside you that you can't let out. Like, I was able to let that out. You know, I'm very fortunate that I got a chance to write that chapbook and put my name out there first and foremost. And I'm blessed and thankful that I was able to take a decade worth of writing and put it into a book, you know, that people can buy and, like, read and, like, relate to and see for themselves, because that's the only way that we can, like, come together as a nation right now. You know, Trump doesn't give a fuck about the arts.
No.
He doesn't give two shits, you know, and, like, being an artist isn't easy. Like, you don't make a lot of money, you know, you have to work other jobs. You have to have a career besides your art just to, like, maintain and get by most of the time, unless you're really fortunate and, like, get your book in the right hands and you're in, like, the New York Times or something like that. But for me, like, I just hope that we can start to show empathy instead of talking about it. I think we talk a lot. You know, I'm guilty of that too, but
More action.
more action, fam. We need more action, and, like, this may be words in a book, but
It took an action to make it into what that is. You know what I mean? That's a good fucking book, bro. Like I said, when I just read the preface, I had to fucking pop an anxiety pill. I'm like, God damn. Like, this shit is heavy. You know what I mean? Because I was, like I said, I was high when I was reading this shit. My heart I felt like I was having heart palpitations. I'm like, yo, this motherfucker really saying some shit. You know what I mean? And this is just the preface. I ain't even get into the poetry yet. You know what I mean? That's what I wrote in the fucking piece that I wrote. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I'm like, yo, this is a fucking ride, bro. And I had to come back to it a few hours later. I had to really settle myself because I'm like, this is obviously triggering something within me here, you know? And I read it and I'm like, yo, this guy here is special. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because that piece that you wrote, like, my dad was like, oh, I'm an emotionally absent father. And I'm like, hey, you read this book. You know what we went through as, like, father and son. Like, you know where you did some right things.
Yeah.
But you know where you fell short too. You know, I wish that I could talk to my dad about like emotional stuff more. I think that he holds a lot in because that's how he was raised. He grew up in the South Jamaica houses.
Yeah.
You know, like he saw people die, you know, and he was in combat. He has shrapnel holes in the back of his back from an explosion, you know, when he was serving. You know, like he's been through shit, and I'll always respect him and love him. Like I wouldn't be here without him, but you can always want better for someone. You can always want people to treat others better. And that's where we butted heads a lot, because he says it all the time. He's like, oh, you're sensitive. You wear your heart on your sleeve. Like it's a bad thing, and I'm like, or different. And I'm like, dude, like, that's what makes me me. I'm proud of that shit. You feel me?
There's nothing to be ashamed of, you know what I mean? But it's understanding how to channel it. I'll always say this, and I'll go back to it. It's probably going to be, I find myself repeating myself a lot through these conversations because it always applies. You know what I mean? And it's like, what society deems wrong with you is in direct correlation with what's right with you. You know what I'm saying? It's all about channeling it properly. You know what I'm saying? Nah, dude, wearing your heart on your sleeve, being hypersensitive, there's a way in which that can be channeled and that can propel you beyond the moon. You know what I mean? It's just understanding. It's just having the patience to get to it, having the guidance. You know what I mean? Nah, bro, you're a hell of a writer, man, and you know, dude, I'm interested in tapping into whatever you got coming up next, man. You know what I mean?
That's the next part. I have this project in mind, but I'm like timid about it. You know, I was gonna call it XOXO.
Okay.
It was a thing that I used to say to the ex that cheated on me with the communist white dude.
The communist shit is crazy.
But I used to just tell her like XOXO, and I was gonna just write about the relationships that I've been in.
Okay.
You know, from like high school with the black girl that I dated for like a month to like now in the current relationship that I'm in now, which is still fresh. It's only like a couple weeks, and it's been a journey there too. But just writing poems about each person and the impact that they had on my life and how I felt, good or bad, you know, because I tend to write a lot about when I'm like feeling a certain type of way that I can't describe, you know, and being in love is like one of the weirdest feelings in the world, in my opinion, because relationships take work. And I feel as though now, in the day and age that we're living in, like the more work you put in, the more you get out of it, but it still takes a lot out of you. So in the past, like I've rested on my laurels. I've thought that things were just going to be hunky-dory forever. I've been infatuated. I've been lustful. I even cheated once. Like I'm not proud of these things, you know, and that's what I want to touch upon, because when I write, sometimes I write on Facebook certain pieces, you know, I see like certain men like relate to it, you know, and like I want it to be universal, and I want women to relate to it too, obviously, and like LGBTQIA as well. But, you know, like we're told to like comport ourselves a certain way as men, and I don't really go by that book. I try to like be as sensitive and like as real as possible, and that's gotten me hurt a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But I also have seen where I've hurt others, and to be able to touch upon that with poetry and to give homage and give thanks. Like in this book, I thank all my former partners in this book at the end, and I mean that sincerely. Like, you know, if I could see all of my exes, I would tell them I'm sorry for what I put you through. I'm sorry for the turmoil that I had going on in my head that didn't make you feel like I loved you or that I cared, you know. And I'm probably gonna say that to my current girl, you know, right now, you know, because, you know, like with every good there's a bad, and like you go through things in life. I'm just gonna be like, look, like I'm not there's no such thing as perfection, but I'm not naive and I'm not ignorant about what I need to do to keep improving as a man and as a partner to be better. So that's kind of what I've been working on, you know, just bit by bit. You know, obviously I don't want to get sued for defamation or anything, but you never know with these ladies, man. They could just be like, oh, I didn't like that. Here's a lawsuit. But But I think it would be nice to just, you know, put that part of my life into words, because I didn't expect to ever be in a relationship when I was a kid. I just wanted to be able to go to school properly and like to talk, you know? And like there are days where like I'd be at the mall and like a girl would look at me and like I wouldn't even notice. I'd just be off in my own little world. And my dad would be like, what are you doing? She's staring at you, you know? And I'm just like, okay. You know, I got other things I need to worry about in life, you know?
What are you doing?
You'd be like, boy.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I've been there.
and that's kind of like what I've been trying to piece together, you know, to put that together and hopefully find a publisher and submit that, because I have so much shit in the vault, fam.
I believe
I got another collection of essays and poetry that's like through the years, you know, as well, that I have saved on my computer that was featured in Paper Moon. I sent the whole thing to them.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And they chose the poems that they liked and they put it in there. But, you know, there's a period in my life when I was writing every day and like posting it on the gram before my gram got hacked. And yeah, like I really was putting in a lot of work. So I had to take a step back as a person and just be like, hey, I need a breather as a writer. Because you don't want to get stuck in the same loop. You know, you don't want to write the same shit. You don't want to be saying the same things, because then people lose interest. People lose a way to relate to you. So I think that would be like a cool project to do, because I've cared about everyone that I've been with, whether they feel that way or not. And I hope that through my art, I can show what I couldn't express.
Which brings me to the next question. As you grew older, how did years of struggling to express yourself shape the way you saw yourself?
I mean, it led me to internalize a lot.
Okay.
You know, like, it led me to think that I wasn't all there. Kind of made me just, that's such a good question. Because the older I get, the more I can't afford to be like hard on myself. I used to not so much be a perfectionist, but want to like do everything right, you know?
Yeah.
And that goes beyond just school and like sports and stuff. That's like character and like, you know, the way you treat people and the way you treat others. Like I just wanted to be, you know, Mr. Nice Guy. Like when I was in elementary school, they gave me the Mr. Good Bar Award because I was just such a good guy.
Yeah.
But as you said, like in the car on the way over here, like nice guys finish last, fam.
That's a fact.
You know, like be kind, but like be careful about being nice too. And it's been a lot, because when I've been nice, I've been taken advantage of. But when I've been angry, I've pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah.
And I've pushed some people away that I would like to say, you know what, like I could have used you in my life in this period. You know, that's the regret, because a lot of my I'm not really in contact with like my former partners that much.
Yeah.
You know, like, and you know, I view that as a shame. Like, you know, I was intimate with these people, and a lot of them now I'm just like no contact with them. And it's like, was I just a body? You know, you know, was this just a period of your life when you didn't understand, or was it just me like chasing or searching when it was within here all along? So I respect you like taking a break from all that and like focusing on yourself, you know, because I did the same thing, and like it's allowed me to have a better sense of like how to navigate things like this and how to navigate your relationship with yourself, more importantly. You know, because your relationship with yourself is the most important thing. And I have had a tumultuous relationship with myself. Like I talk about it, like the drugs I've taken, the drinks I've drank, the way I've treated my body, some of the things I've eaten, haven't been the healthiest. My diet hasn't been the healthiest at times. I could exercise more, go to the gym more.
Shit, you preaching right now.
Yeah, we all have these things that we can like work on that would tell yourself like I love you. Like how often do we tell ourselves like, hey, like I love each other, like we have I love you, you know what I mean? Like we have affirmations and stuff like that, but like we preach about like loving one another and stuff like that. Like to love another person, you have to love yourself first. And I think that it's easy to like forget that because we're always like, oh, like something's wrong with me if I'm single. There's nothing wrong with you if you're single.
It's that bullshit societal pressure.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like there's nothing wrong with being alone. Like going out to see a movie by yourself, going to the mall by yourself, going to dinner by yourself. There's nothing wrong with enjoying your own company. You know what I mean? But it's like, it's the people that are so fixated on needing somebody there. They turn out to really be the ones with the problems. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, you need to take time. Like I've been there, I felt like I had to go from one to another. You know what I mean? And problems kept finding me because I never got to the root of it. You know what I mean? You think that you're gonna run away from that issue by putting yourself into a new situation, but just like when I left here and went to Las Vegas, I brought those problems right along with me and struggled 3,000 miles away. You know what I'm saying? Struggling with one shorty, struggling with the next, and at some point you gotta understand again the common denominator. You know what I mean?
Common denominator is you.
That's a fact.
Heart, mind, body, and soul.
We are the answer, and sometimes that's always true, but sometimes it's not always pretty. You know what I'm saying? And we need to be willing to accept that. As you grew older, how? Oh, I'm about to
read the same
fucking question. When did you first begin to believe that people were seeing a version of you that wasn't actually you?
I could go so many ways with this. It's crazy. But I'd say like probably when I started doing coke, like I talked to you in that piece about. I think that. Like they just expected me to be the life of the party at that point. And, not really have a good head on my shoulders and just be like, all right, I'm going to the bar, I'm getting drunk, and then I'm going to the bathroom, doing a couple lines, I'm coming out, I'm getting more drunk, and then I'm going home, going to this apartment, doing some more drugs. This apartment has seen a lot of me, like the good and the bad and the ugly. Like I've had people over here, I had a party over here the other day that was inopportune. Like a couple months ago, some dude got kicked down my stairs, cracked his head open.
Oh my God, is he okay?
I have no clue. I was too drunk to know.
Oh my God.
That's why I remind myself of that night with that bottle of Jameson over there. Because I'm like, I can't be splitting bottles of Jameson with like these young kids who think that they're invincible. You know what I mean? Because I thought that I was just chilling with this one dude. The next thing you know, he invites mad people over. We have like 10 heads in this place.
Wow.
And like. This is a small-ass studio apartment, like...
Through a rager.
Through a rager, you know what I mean?
Fucking like, TV out the window type shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, bro.
I had to give up one of my hockey jerseys, because the one dude who, like, beat the dude up and, like, kicked him down the stairs, he was like, yo, I'm covered in blood. He was showering in my shower with, like, dish soap.
Oh, my God.
It was a wild time. And now people see me, like, if I go out to Susie's or something like that, they're like, oh, I remember that time where I stopped by your apartment. And I saw the cops and the ambulance there, and there was a pool of blood, like, on the sidewalk and stuff like that. But I was too fucked up on Adderall and Jameson to, like, do anything about it. I was just standing there, like, hi. You know what I mean? So that's the type of version that I'm not proud of, But it also is a part of, like, the story that it speaks to. Because I could also say the version of me that I didn't like was when I was in high school and sheltered and like trying to be the next Obama or trying to act something that I'm not as an African-American male, letting the stereotypes get to me, letting Oreo get to me and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You know, I wasn't proud of that version either because I didn't want to be on this earth at some points. You know, I was thinking about like, there were some times where I like chugged NyQuil, you know, or like put a belt around my neck, you know, like stuff like that. When I was like in high school, that is tough to talk about, you know what I mean? But it really spoke to the damage that can do. You know, when people see a version of you that they expect or a stereotype that they think that you are, and and then you know it's not true, but you can't show it in a different way, it can kill you. It honestly can kill you. So I'd say like those two versions of me are accurate to answer that question because I still have to answer those questions. I still have to carry that with me. And I still have to learn from those experiences so I don't make the same transgressions over and over again, you know? Because like it's easy to be a people pleaser. It's easy to be like, hey, yeah, if they offer you something, do it.
It's so hard to stand on
stand on your 2 feet and say no. You know, and my dad makes it sound so easy. It's like, oh, I was just like, just say no. But when you look around and you see everybody coked out, and you're like, okay.
Especially when you're used to not fitting in.
Exactly. The social aspect of it. I think that's the bittersweet part. You can say the same thing about weed. You can say the same thing about alcohol. You can say the same thing about cocaine. I've had plenty of people come over here and snort lines off this table. Including myself. You know? And it's something where you always have to be careful and cognizant of like what you're doing to yourself because you never know how people are going to perceive you.
I used to snort pills and shit. I snorted so much pills that the first time I snorted cocaine, like it didn't hurt my nose. I was expecting my nose to burn. I apparently primed myself well. God, coke was so fun. I'm like, nah, I can't do this. I'm gonna destroy my life. You know what I'm saying?
Coke is a crazy drug, man.
It really, like Rick James said, it's a hell of a drug.
It's a hell of a drug.
It's a hell of a drug.
Makes you feel invincible at times. Gives you a second wind.
Shit got you feeling like you're fucking Wolverine, bro. Like, who the fuck you think you is? You know what I mean? Like, you can go into a fucking, like, you can go, I don't know if you remember the SpongeBob episode where this nigga was he was daydreaming. And he was muscular in his daydream, and there was a train coming. And this nigga SpongeBob ripped off his shirt. He was muscular, and his chest was out. That motherfucker said, come on! Like, that's how you feel, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I can just poke my chest out, and I can just stand in front of a moving train and stop that motherfucker. Like, yeah, okay. All right, you know? When your ego is already big enough, bro, you don't need anything, you know?
And we know this as only children, like you said, like the spotlight is on. It feels like 24/7. So it's hard to stay humble and like see the ego coming out of you.
Yeah, yeah, bro. Fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? God bless you if you can do. God bless the people that can drink, that can do cocaine, that can do these things in moderation and still live healthy lives, because people like that do exist.
Oh, for sure.
It ain't me.
Nope.
It ain't me.
It ain't me.
It took me a while to realize that. I was, like I said, bro, I was damn near knocking. I thought life was a motherfucking cartoon for a while. And I'm like, nigga, you know, listen. You think life is a movie, you end up in jail. You think it's a cartoon, you might end up in a psych ward. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, listen, what the fuck are we doing? This is not an episode of Ren and Stimpy, bro. This shit is real. You know, what the fuck are you doing, you know? Nah, bro. Gotta leave that bullshit alone, man. You know? But nah.
Yeah, more power to the people who can, but
yeah,
I just know myself.
This ain't me.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
You give me one bag, I'll do it all.
Type shit. You know what I mean? And you gotta be okay with putting that limitation on yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's gotta be all right. Like, you gotta think, like, I didn't start drinking and smoking and shit until I was 18. And I'm like,
same.
I was able to have fun for so long before I was introduced to that, but then you're doing it for this 10-year stretch, and it's like you forget how to be yourself without it. And it's like I was sober for longer than I was under the influence. Like, how does this make sense? You know what I'm saying? So it's just about, you know, rewiring your thinking and getting reacquainted with yourself and with the world around you, really.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a blessing to not have to drink to silence the inner chaos. You know what I mean? To be able to do that with just silencing myself and listening to the background noise just that's happening, whether it be the AC, the fan, or cars whooshing by. You know what I mean? Wind, whatever. Just getting present. You know what I mean? Shit. Wise man. I forget which Chinese philosopher said it. It was either Lao Tzu or Confucius. But if you're living in the past, you're depressed. If you're living in the future, you are anxious. But if you are living in the present, you are at peace. And that, my friend, is fucking church.
Couldn't have said it any better myself, bro.
You know?
Couldn't have said it any better myself.
But when did you first? Wait a second. Okay, you write openly about periods when your mental health was unraveling. Looking back, where do you think that pain truly began?
Probably when I found out that my dad wasn't who I thought he was.
How so, if you don't mind me asking?
Just him not being in my life until I was 10 years old, you know, and then wondering why he wasn't there, like in the same space as my mother, why my mom wanted to raise me as a single mother until I was 10 years old. I think that kind of really threw my head for a whirl because I thought that I wasn't good enough to be my own dad's son for like the longest time. You know, I remember we'd have arguments where he'd say like, "Oh, your autism's a scam," you know?
Wow.
And he would say some things that were like incredibly just vicious, you know? And
It's like, how do you say this to your fucking child? Like,
exactly,
what the fuck
like
are you
it's,
talking about?
I'm like, I wasn't supposed to be born, dude. Like my mom had PCOS and doctors were saying that her uterine lining couldn't handle kids, and next thing you know, they're still doing their on and off thing since college, and I magically appear. You know, like you should be more thankful, I think, than that. So I think that not being on the same page when I was a child and I was living with him really hurt me. And it kind of really gave me a really bad sense of like abandonment issues because I felt like I had been, you know, abandoned by my own father. And then to like try to rehash that and move upstate to a whole new town where no one knows me, you know, and to still have those issues with him. I think when I was younger, it was easier to compartmentalize because you go to school, like you have rigidity.
Yeah,
But-
you have that escape. Yeah,
But in
yeah.
college, like, it really made me sick, you know? Because I was just drinking, you know? I was drinking myself to death almost, just trying to forget the things that he said, the arguments that we had, you know? Just the mental turmoil that it put me through and the way that it hurt my mother. You know, especially the way that it hurt my mother. That really just made my brain just kind of like lose its shit, you know? And also with like, you know, starting to date and like deal with other people, all of it just was like coming in at once. I felt like I didn't really have like a home, you know? And when you don't have that, it's easy to like not be in your head all the time. So that's probably the earliest moment where I knew that like my mentals weren't really all there, you know? And that's why I write a lot about it, because I'm not the only person who goes through turmoil like that.
That's a fact.
You know, my current partner, she's been through divorce. My best friend, he's been through divorce with his parents. You know, like, I should be thankful that my parents stuck it out, you know, and like they stayed together. But part of me wonders, like, was it to like do it for me, or were they actually doing it for them? You know, and I have to like think of that weight and that guilt more often than not. You know, just to like be cognizant, because I just want to make them proud. I just want to make my dad proud. I want to make my mom proud. And they had like big expectations for me. They wanted me to be a doctor. They wanted me to be traveling the world by now.
Yeah.
You know, and instead I'm still in like 10 minutes away from the town I grew up in, you know, working 2 gigs that you don't need a college degree for. And I have my degree sitting right there, but it's been tough to fucking find a gig to use it in, you know? Like, I mainly got that degree so I can become a better writer.
Fair enough.
And it served its purpose, in my opinion. But in terms of like a career and stability and stuff like that, that's where I stress, in my opinion. You know, I was at a bar with my girlfriend, and her friend was just like, "You seem stressed. You don't smile." And I gave her an honest answer. I was like, yeah, like, I'm not where I want to be in life right now. I'm happy. I'm content with like the stability that I have compared to what I had been doing in like 2022, 2023, 2024. But I lost damn near everything.
50 Cent said a line in a song, I think it was, and "You Not Like Me." He said, "I don't smile a lot because ain't shit pretty." You know what I mean? I remember my mother told me one morning, "Fix your face." I'm like, "No, ain't nothing pretty." You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, yeah, I get it.
A lot of people fake a smile and like fake saying that they're okay, and like I've never been about that life.
You know how many motherfuckers smile and they are dying inside? You know what I'm saying? I done seen some vibrant smiles of motherfuckers that blew their heads off. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, Robin Williams.
Kurt Cobain, you know what I mean? Absolutely. That Robin Williams shit was crazy. He's a funny motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? It's like, God damn, bro. You know? But yeah, man, bro. These motherfuckers, but it's verity over vanity. You know what I mean? The truth, bro. It's the depth that matters over the surface. You know what I mean? But people are comfortable with what they can see as opposed to what they can feel, and you know, it's unfortunate, but you know, that's why I try to be real. You know what I mean? My gift and my curse is my honesty. You know what I mean? If it pushes you away, you just ain't meant for me. Fuck it.
Woo!
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna keep that for later.
Type shit.
I'm gonna keep that for later,
Yeah, bro.
Because like people harp on honesty so much. They really do, but somebody can still not like what you say when you're being honest.
That's a fact.
You know? And like, that's difficult, you know what I mean? It's difficult to take because, dude, I can lie with the best of them. I learned from somebody who lied, you know? And I'm not going to say who, but I've learned from liars. And sometimes it's like the easy way out, but sometimes telling the truth will, like, you know, really set you free. Like, that shit ain't just a saying.
That shit is a fact.
That shit is a fact, man.
Releases so much weight off your shoulders, man. I feel like you can fucking finally breathe again. You know? Because when you gotta lie, you gotta suffocate yourself within a process that you always have to remember that lie. You always have to jump into character on the spot. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can never truly get comfortable. You know what I mean? So, yeah, just telling the truth, like, fuck it, man. Take this costume off me. Take this fucking lead suit off of me, please. I can't do it anymore. You know what I mean? Fuck that shit. But getting back into your poetry, what I want to know, what do you think poetry allowed you to say that ordinary conversation never could?
Allowed me to truly speak my mind, to truly let my heart beat. You know, I think that going to like a school like LaSalle where it's like military and so rigid, and having like a strict father and like a loving mother, having that dichotomy, it didn't really allow me to like put into words how I was feeling all the time. Like I always had to do something else. Whereas with poetry, it's like a blank canvas, you know? Like, you can write about whatever you want. And, write about whatever you want. You can express yourself however you want to express yourself. And you can stand on your own 2 feet and be who you want to be. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not proud of this photo. I'm chugging a Bud Light and flipping the bird. But that's what happened after the kid, who was me hiding behind the mask, got older. Like that innocence was just gone, you know? Like when life gives you lemons, like you can make lemonade or you can just take a bite out of the lemon. And, you know, and believe me, like I was taking bites out of lemons.
Like a motherfucker.
Like
it was an orange.
Exactly.
With the skin still on it and shit. Oh,
yeah,
God.
and it was sour, you know what I mean? Sour as hell.
Oh, God. Dude, forget about it. Fuck that shit, man. Oh, God. Fuck the torture, man.
But that's what poetry does. It gives you a sense of belonging. And, you know, like, it's given me a sense of, like, accomplishment that I never really had, you know? Like, yeah, I got a college degree and all that jazz, but, like, I can say, like, yo, like, I made my dream reality and I did it my own way.
Yeah.
And that's, like, really rare these days and, like, really fucking cool. And instead of people being, like, uncomfortable about it, they should just say, hey, like, maybe I can do that with what I care about, too.
And they can. You know
And they
what I
can.
mean? You always can. It's just, it's the ability is always there, but is the willingness. That's the key, you know? What part of society do you think understands people like you the most?
The misunderstood, the swept aside.
The black sheep. The rejects. Yeah.
Yeah, those who don't fit in. Personally, I think that a lot of people who've read this book are like, it made me feel alone. Even though I was like surrounded by people I loved or like friends and stuff like that, it made me feel really alone.
That's the weight of loneliness when you got people around you. Like I used to be around a bunch of motherfuckers. I would just have my headphones in. I didn't want. It's like I was by myself, but I needed the comfort of knowing that other people were around, but I didn't want to engage. You know what I mean? That was what I was dealing with, and that was the weight of loneliness, of fear. You know what I mean? That's something that it took me a while to really understand that shit. Because people are saying like, yo, like, why did you even come? Like, man, I need the comfort of knowing that somebody else is here, because I'm not really sure how it is I'll treat myself or what I do to myself if it's just me right now. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. This shit is like that, bro. After everything you've lived through, what belief about people has become the foundation of the way you live today?
That people have the capacity to forgive, not just themselves, but others.
Yeah.
That there's always a new day in life. I think that it's easy to get swept up in what's going on, not only in the past and the future, but what's going on in your day, to the point where like you make a drastic decision that you regret. And you realize that like, you know, every day is a new day, that you can be in a situation that isn't healthy and leave it and be okay with yourself. But you can also work on something and make it better and be proud of that. You know, my belief is that people aren't just out to get you. I used to think that people were out to get me, especially when I went through my paranoia, being on ketamine and coke. Like, yeah, I used to be like, oh, head on a swivel, can't trust nobody.
I was dropping acid. I thought motherfuckers was trying to kill me. I thought niggas was texting. I thought my peoples at the time I was kicking it with were plotting on me. I'm like, yo, he's texting him, and this nigga's about to come strangle me. You know what I mean? I'm sitting on the couch, bro. I'm stuck, bro. I'm like a stone on that motherfucker. I'm just waiting for this motherfucker to come up behind me and choke me. You know? Oh my God. I lost my motherfucking marbles, brother. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that shit.
But yeah, I mean, like, just knowing that people always change and that
Hell
you can
yeah.
change too.
It's possible, man. It's possible. Shit. You gotta want to. And it's not about eradicating the negativity within you. It's about tuning it down. You know, and you'll go crazy. It's like motherfuckers will cut their head off trying to cure a headache. It's like, yo, if it's at an 8, you can work to bring it to a 3 or a 4. You know what I mean? Lessen it. That's realistic. That's progress, not perfection. And that's what life is. That's what they teach us in AA.
Exactly.
What the fuck they need to teach us in life? They need to tell that shit to kids
right?
more. You know what I'm saying? Fuck is the education system doing? But that's a conversation for
That's
another
another day.
You feel me?
Yeah, of course.
And my final question, brother, man. When people read Identity Crisis 50 years from now, what do you hope they understand about the man who wrote it?
That he really could have. That he was really in a bad way, but he made it out.
Really in a bad way, but he made it out.
He was not in a good headspace. He was not surrounded by good people. He was not in good relationships. He didn't have a good family relationship at the time. He really could have just said, fuck it, went off the deep end. But instead, he turned his pain into art. And I hope that like 50 years from now, in this weird technological world that we're living in, that people can just respect the effort, the care, the thought, and the mindset that it took to produce something like this. You know, I'm always going to, you know, be thankful that I was able to just keep what I've been expressing internally to myself and get it out into the open and relate to others. And I hope that it continues to marinate with time. I've noticed that some poems that I've written in here from like when I originally wrote it in 2020 are like relevant now, you know, and I'm able to read that and be like, holy shit, like.
I mean, bro, your words will be relevant still 50 years from now.
That's what I'm hoping for.
You know what I mean? The best writers, you read they shit, it's like, God damn, this shit still resonates today. This shit was written in the 60s, in the 40s, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, bro. But that's real writing. It's when it's real, it's timeless. You know what I mean? You just, and there's no blueprint for how to do that, bro. You're just in the moment, you know? You're in a flow state.
Yep. And that's the beauty of it. I loved putting this together because I was just in a state of flow. Every piece I wrote here was just like, I felt out of my body. And it was like the most natural high I could ever get. And this is coming from somebody who smoked a ton of weed, done a ton of coke, done his fair share of pills, and has drank enough for a sailor. You know, like, this is when I was like really at peace here, and it's a reminder of what I need to keep striving for and keep doing consistently so I can make my life what I want it to be, you know, and keep improving and keep getting better. It's not a competition, it's a journey.
The journey is what teaches us the appreciation and the gratitude needed to be able to sit within success and not fuck it up, to be able to rest, you know what I mean, within that. That shit is imperative, man. Before we wrap up, you have any upcoming events or anything that you got coming up in, anything?
To be honest with you, not really. My event has been just going to work every day. But even when I'm not scheduled, like, you know, still doing something productive. Yeah, I don't really have anything scheduled right now, and I'm at peace with that. I've done so many readings and, you know, shows, if you want to call it that, and open mics, you know, throughout the past decade that, like, I'm just happy to, like, focus on my personal life, take a breather from that, and get some shit in order that I kind of need to from, like, a human level. So I hope that maybe something will pop up. You never know with how this scene is. You never know if opportunities may arise, but in the meantime, check this out and get familiar, because if you really want to know,
bring it up a little closer to the camera, please. Yeah, let him
know,
see. Let him see the goal,
if
bro.
you really want to know,
Tap
it's all
in.
here for you.
Tap in.
Thank you.
Plug in your social medias and everything.
I'm on Facebook. Name's Ian, I-A-N, Macks, M-A-C-K-S. You can add me on there. I also have like a poetry page by the same name if you just want to keep it to the poetry. I respect it. Don't have the Instagram, and I'm kind of thankful because that was kind of a time suck. But I do have X or Twitter. I go by Drake's Ghostwriter, which is kind of like
Okay.
If you want to see my tweets, I mainly just tweet about the Mets and sports and a little bit about politics here and there, but nothing over the top. But I'm pretty low-key socially. And I used to be heavy on the socials, but I'd say the best social to find me is probably Facebook for sure.
Rock and roll, brother. Dog, it's a pleasure, man, for real. My God.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, thank you,
That was
man.
beautiful.
This shit's real.